It's Milan Simone, the Indigo Oracle, with our magical manifesting story. I think this is number 6. I really hope it is because I don't plan to re-record this, so we'll just go with number 6. And this time I thought I would talk about other ways that we manifest. I know this is about magical manifesting, but I also want to bring awareness to when we can manifest negatively as well. Because the brain and the universe is just trying to please us. Well, the brain is talking and communicating to the universe, and the universe is just trying to please our wishes. So we have this power within us to choose where we focus our thoughts, and our thoughts create things. And so I just wanted to bring up a story. It's when I got in a car accident, and it's definitely an intense story. But I don't think it's going to come off that way on the video, which is great. But I think it's just the idea of knowing that, too, even if you manifest negatively, that afterwards you get a choice to change your thoughts and your patterns. And then also you're able to, there's a silver lining underneath it. So there's always a positive through all of our experiences. So in this story, I just have to give you a little background. So it was my last year of school in college, and I had just ended a very interesting and emotional turmoil type of relationship where I found that my boyfriend at the time was cheating on me with not only one girl but like several women and possibly men, and just overall sex addict, and kind of was a sociopath. I think that's the right word, because he had a tendency to lie and just continue to lie and didn't see anything wrong with it. And so it really freaked me out at the time. But anyway, I was going through this experience, and it broke me down, and I stopped trusting myself, and because I really believed this person, and I stopped trusting myself, and I stopped thinking that I was worth something. And maybe I was thinking those thoughts before, and that's who I attracted to show me a mirror to myself, that I need to change this thought process. So anyway, I was in this emotional state, and also some other things that happened, like just making bad decisions. Like my sister was in a rut, and so at the time I had 2 debit cards, and I gave her 1 card. And I said, if you ever need any cash, you can use that debit card. There's a little bit in there, so check the balance, because if you do overdraft, let me know so that I can put my money in there. And, months went by, and I didn't hear from her. I moved back home after school, and Chase, my bank, I shouldn't have said the bank, but anyway, the bank that I was with, they found me, they called me, because I didn't give them my new address for whatever reason, probably because I was so stressed out from the breakup. And so they ended up calling, and they said, you're overdraft, and you've been overdraft for several months, and we're going to close your account unless you can pay the overdraft, and we're going to send it over to collections. And I was just really thrown off by it, and kind of hurt that my sister, number one, didn't tell me that she went overdraft, because she definitely knew she did, and that I had to kind of clean up the pieces and take care of it myself. So a lot of this story kind of deals with codependency and when you get stuck in those patterns of being, what's that word? There's a word for it when you're codependent. Oh, an enabler, right? So I was playing the role as the enabler for my sister. So anyway, they called, and I didn't have any money at the time because I just finished school. I didn't have a job. I moved back home. I was emotionally distraught. So I ended up calling my father and asking him, if I could have, it was a small amount, it was like $200. I said, Dad, I need $200 because Selena overdraft this, blah, 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 blah. And so my dad said, yeah, why don't you come, down over where I live. He lived about an hour and a half away. And we can go have lunch, we can hang out, and I'll give you a check. And I thought, oh, this is great. I'll go see my dad. So I drove down, and, a part of it is, too, that me and my father have a very interesting relationship, and sometimes he's present and sometimes he's not present. So while I was driving, I was like, oh, this is really great. My inner child was so excited. I get to spend time with my dad. He really loves me. He's going to be there this time. And I was really excited by that. And it was bringing light to all of the darkness that I was feeling for the past couple months since the breakup. And I get there, I pull up, and my dad, I knock on the door, and my dad's like, no, I called him. I called him to let him know I was outside because I thought we were just going to go straight to lunch. And then he says over the phone, he's like, oh, yeah, you're here. He was like, well, why don't you go see some of your friends? You know, I'll just come outside, give you the check, and you can go hang out with your friends. And I was so shocked that he said that, because in my mind, I had a completely different idea, and it hurt my feelings. And so, but I didn't have the verbal communication to express that at the time. And so I just stuffed it in, and he came down, gave me a check, and I hugged him, and I acted like everything was fine. And he left, and I went and drove off, and I just started crying because I was hurt. I had spent energy driving up there, and had I known we weren't going to connect, I wouldn't have done that. I would have just said, can you send the check to me, because you're an hour and a half away. Like, why the hell am I going to drive out up here, and we're not even going to spend time together? And then also in my mind, because I was going through whatever I was going through, I felt as if I didn't have any friends to call in that area, because the people that were my friends knew about what was happening and with the past relationship. And I was just like, I don't really want to deal with any of that. So I'm like crying, and I'm starting to have these really negative thoughts, like no one loves me, life is not worth living, like really depressed thoughts. And I'm on the freeway crying and thinking these things, and I kept saying over and over again, in my mind, I just want to die. I just really want to die. I don't really want to be here. God, please take this away. I was definitely praying for death in that moment. I was praying for an accident. And, this is how clear the universe listens. And I think it was more of a wake-up call. It wasn't as if I was going to die. It was like, okay, you really need to learn that your thoughts are very powerful. And when they're backed up behind emotion, then you can create stuff. And you can create it negative or positive. And we're going to give you this example so you can stop telling yourself negative stuff. So I'm driving in the fast lane, number one, probably going like 85. And I'm crying. And then all of a sudden, and I'm saying these thoughts, all of a sudden I look, and the car in front of me has stopped, and I am too close to really do anything about it. So I start braking, and I remember another boyfriend I had, it taught me, like, if you're braking and there's a car in front of you and you need to get away, you should try to pull over to the median or the wall on this side so you don't hit the car. At least you won't hit the car, you'll hit the wall. So I started to try to turn the wheel, but my anti-lock brakes or whatever it is froze the wheel. So I'm literally like pushing and pulling and using all my might to make the wheel turn, because I'm braking at the same time and I don't want to hit this car. And then I'm thinking, holy shit, this is it, I'm gonna die. And it blacks out. And next thing I know, I wake up, my head's in the airbag, and there's all this smoke in the car from the airbag deploying. And I'm thinking, am I dead or am I alive? Like, am I in between worlds? Like, what happened? I don't really know. And a lady, actually what woke me up was a lady was knocking on my window, and she asked if I was okay. She was like, are you okay? And she kind of minds it. And so I said to her, I rolled down the window, I was like, yeah, I think I'm okay. And I was like, did I hit you? And she's like, no, the cars that you hit drove over, they're over on the other side of the freeway now. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah. So I realized that I basically blacked out. But I had, the amazing thing was that my car was completely damaged and salvaged. And the car that I hit in front of me didn't have any damages, but the car that they hit in front of her, the bumper was bent. So everyone was safe. Nobody died. No one got hurt. But I definitely had whiplash or whatever it is that goes on in your body. So anyway, I won't go into too much of detail of the rest of the story. I'm okay. I did have to deal with what emotional pain that brought up, and the issue that I noticed was that because I was thinking so intensely about a negative thought, a negative feeling, and I had trauma in that experience of thinking it, that I kind of locked it into my cells. So I spent the next 8 years really doing a lot of healing work. because I basically trained my cells to like have this thought process. And it took a long time to really unravel it. And when we go through healing, there's always layers and there's onions. There's onions. I like to call it like an onion. You pull one layer off and then another layer off until you get to the bud. And then eventually you can look at the root and you can see where it's coming from. And then you don't have to deal with it anymore. So definitely, if you're listening to this, maybe you've already connected the dots. It's like, oh, she has daddy issues. Okay, daddy issues follows up with bad boyfriend choices, which follows up to you not feeling like you're worth it, but that roots to having dad issues. So it's a whole cycle that I had to really clear and come to terms with. And that accident was my wake-up call, but I also manifested it in the moment because of the emotion. So that does explain that when you're having thoughts and it's attached to emotion, it can go so fast. It can start showing up in your life immediately. So why not use that energy and channel it into a positive direction? And I'm not saying it's not okay to be upset and it's not okay to have bad thoughts. I think that's totally healthy, but you have to do it in a healthy way, and you have to think about how you want to change it instead of staying stuck into it. Because now what I like to do if I'm feeling angry or frustrated or something, I do use that energy, but I channel it. And I channel it into something positive. So I'll take it as fuel, to help push me if it's present. I don't purposely get angry to fuel myself. But if there's something that's kind of triggering me, I'll take it to create something in my life that's positive. So, this is manifesting story number 6, and I thought it was time to bring up something that's a little more deeper and maybe the flip side of manifesting, because we can do it both ways. So I hope that this was a good reminder and that you gained some insight about the power that you have through your thoughts and your emotions and their connection to your actual physical life and what you manifest in yourself. And by the way, I forgive my dad. We've since then worked on a relationship. It's still a work in progress, but at least now I can accept him as a person and can accept that I can forgive his actions, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to change any part of who he is. And that's fine, because my inner child has done her healing and she realizes she did nothing wrong. So that's great, right? We're just all people. So I hope you tune in next, manifesting story number 7. I'm sure it'll be on a lighter note. I haven't decided what it's going to be about, but I'm always excited to share with you guys. So take care, and if you want, leave comments below. Maybe, if you want to share your own manifesting story on a video or type it in the comment box. I would love to read about it. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.